wondered why some baristas don't ask you what milk you want with your latte? That's because they don't want to give you the option of messing with their specialty coffee. Many of us health-conscious coffee drinkers want reduced fat or non-dairy options, but that's the wrong answer when it comes to making a good latte or cappuccino. Lattes and caps demand some fat, and fat balances out the flavour and contributes to texture. And skim milk and dairy alternatives just don't cut it. Until now. I've got a secret for you. This amazing looking and tasting latte was made with Milkadamia, a macadamia nut milk designed for baristas, developed right here in Byron Bay. This is where Milkadamia was born, the idyllic Jindilli farms, owned and run by Mason Roy and his family just 20 minutes from the surf at Byron. So Mason, how did your family get into macadamia nut farming?
Well, first of all, my father brought a macadamia processing plant and then an oil factory. Yeah. And I love the idea of growing a tree that was native to the area. And so I got together with Dad and we decided it'd be a great idea to get into the farming side of it. And we found this place.
So when you talk about farm and acreage, how big is the farm itself?
It's 240 acres.
How many trees?
8,000 mature trees and 8,000 young trees that have just been planted over the last 18 months.
So that many trees, roughly how many nuts are you going to get a year? What's the tonnage?
Yeah, at the moment it's around 100 tonne and that'll double.
So how important is this sustainable farming? I know it's a bit of a movement at the moment, but how important is that to you guys?
Yeah, really important. I'm really passionate about that, and there's a big movement at the moment in agriculture to go towards softer ways of farming and more positive ways of farming, if I can say that. That's what we're striving to do here.
And it's so important to teach that to our kids, that full circle. The leaves fall off and they go back and they nourish the soil, and the soil makes up the fruit, right? It's so important.
Yeah, the life underneath the ground, the life in the soil is what gives us life above the soil, Yeah. If it's without that, nothing's going on.
So you have all this beautiful farmland and you're only 20 minutes from the beach.
That's right, it's about a 20-minute drive to Lennox, but I can actually get there a lot quicker. I can fly there in my paramotor, which is just over there, in about 5 minutes.
That thing? That's a what?
A paramotor. Yeah, that's like a big prop, a fan that I put on my back with a wing, and I can take off from just here and get to the beach in about 5 minutes.
Every kid's hero.
Yeah, that's right, I'm Superman.
I'll stick to the car. Jim Richards is the CEO of Jindilli Beverages and has been part of the team from the start. G'day Jim, how are you, mate? So where did the idea come from for macadamia nut milk for coffee?
From a desire to get macadamias out of the chocolate box and let people see that it was relevant to today's life. Coffee is obviously a great place for trends to be incubated, and so we wanted to go into cafes.
And there are a lot of people, I guess, now that are moving away from drinking animal milks and dairy and looking for a nut alternative too.
Yeah, it's a good thing to do. Just looking around us here, this is where it all starts, from the soil.
Yes.
Goes to these beautiful trees, make the beautiful nuts, we transition into oil and we transition into milk. You couldn't get it better.
And besides, who could live without coffee anyway?
Oh yeah, coffee's very important. That's one of the reasons that we wanted to be involved with that.
And where can we get Milkadamia nut milk from?
We've started in Byron Bay and the New South Wales hinterland, but it's now spreading right across Australia. So as far down as Melbourne, Brisbane and north of there, Sydney of course, heading over to Perth even.
So Jim, how do we actually milk a macadamia nut?
Look, I'm happy to take you to the factory and show you.
We're going to take the paramotor?
Yeah, safer to go by car.
A short drive or even shorter flight by paramotor is the Jindilli processing plant, run by General Manager John Perrin. So John, tell us how this whole process works. How do you actually make the paste?
Yeah, sure, Jason. After we've selected the highest quality macadamias, we then pass the macadamias through our high-speed macadamia mill. We run chilled jacketed water through the head of the mill, and that's essential to keep the kernel as low a temperature as possible to make sure that the exiting paste is raw.
So the cold water is to keep the nutrients intact?
That's right, because we need that kernel to be as raw as possible for the production of the Milkadamia. So once we've passed it through the mill, the paste is then passed through a super fine sieve, and that's over here. The aperture size on the sieve is about 1/4 millimetre, and that's to ensure that the particle size of the paste is as consistent as possible, which is required for the manufacturing of the Milkadamia.
So these super fine holes in here is what actually helps you maintain that really fine, delicate texture?
Absolutely, it does, yeah. It's 100% macadamias.
So with all this technology that you have in the iPhone age that we're in, how come we're guys still wearing these silly hats?
Well, it's all about style, Jason.
Of course it is. Okay, so Jim, you've launched into the US market. How are the Americans finding our native nut milk?
They're loving our native nut milk. But we've launched a barista version into the US, and that's going into cafes everywhere. And we all know Americans needed their coffee improved.
Big time.
We took it to a trade show and it immediately won best new coffee product in the US.
So you're growing and growing and growing and growing.
It's been amazingly popular wherever we've shown this product.
Yeah. So what's the next movement for Milkadamia?
Our next movement is we're taking Milkadamia into retail in the US.
Yep.
So these are for on your cereal or just to drink in a glass of milk.
Oh, cheers to that.
Cheers.
Oh, not a bad drop, that one. So the next time you're at a cafe and the barista says to you, the only good milk for a coffee is full-fat dairy milk, you can say nuts to that.